Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast Special Edition Show, 2024-25 NHL Season Predictions Show. Part 1 is going to be predict the standings, the playoffs, and the awards. Part 2 is going to be the miscellaneous stuff and maybe some gambling, or the gambling stuff will be in Part 3. So without further ado, here we go. We'll start with the Metro Division. I have winning the division with 110 points, the New York Rangers. The Rangers won the President's Trophy last year, lost in the conference finals. They're loaded offensively. Artemi Panarin, Chris Kreider, Alexei Lafreniere, Mika Zibanejad, Vincent Trocheck. Defense, they have some guys I like. Adam Fox is obviously a star. Kendra Miller is good. Jacob Trouba is the captain. He's still on the team, which was a weird situation. And Braden Schneider, they're high on as well. And then, of course, Igor Shesterkin's just a godsend goal, best goalie in the league. All right, in second place, I have finishing with 108 points, the New Jersey Devils. I understand they played a couple games already, and now they're actually the betting favorite in that division. They're only the betting favorite in that division because they won their first 2 games, let's be honest. The Rangers, I think, were favored in that division before New Jersey took care of business against Buffalo in 2 games that not a lot of people watched. Jack Hughes is their best player. Nico Hischier is their captain. They did make some good additions in the offseason. They have Thomas Tatar, Andre Palat, Timo Meier still on the team. Their defense is really good. Brendan Smith, Dougie Hamilton. They bring in Brett Pesky from Carolina. And then they bring in Jacob Markstrom in goal, who comes over in the trade from Calgary. And they hire Sheldon Keefe to replace their old coach, Lindy Ruff, from the long-term standpoint. Third place in this division, I have at 98 points, the Carolina Hurricanes. I think the Canes are going to take a step back. They still have a lot of big names on their roster. Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis, Jordan Staal, Andrei Svechnikov. On defense, Brett Burns, Shane Gostisbehere, Dmitry Orlov's on this team now. Jacob Slavin's still there. And then Frederik Andersen is still their goalie, and after rumors that Rod Brindamore was going to leave, he ended up staying. Because remember, they were down 3-0 against the Rangers, and then they were about to force a Game 7, and the Rangers came back on them in the third period. So, yeah. I think the Canes are taking a step back, but they're still a playoff team. Fourth place in the division with 94 points, the New York Islanders. I have them as a wild card team. Their core is pretty much still the same. Matt Barzal and Brock Nelson, Juan Gabriel Pageau. They bring in Bo Horvat from the trade last year. Anthony Duclair's on the team now. Anders Lee's still there. Defense, they have Ryan Pulock, Adam Pulock, Noah Dobson also there. And then Ilya Sorokin should be the full-time guy starting this year. I know we keep pumping that up, but he has to be now. I mean, you got to play him full-time. And then Patrick Roy, first full season there after they make the in-season change last year. Fifth place with 87 points. I have the Washington Capitals. I do not have them in the postseason after they made it unexpectedly last season. Alex Ovechkin is on the chase for the Gretzky record. But this roster's pretty much changing over to the new era. Nick Backstrom's still there. They trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois. There's a lot of names that aren't really familiar, but you also have TJ Oshie, Tom Wilson, Connor McMichael, they want to be better. Henrik Zockbriere. A lot of these guys were on the Hershey Bears in the past. Michael Scarbosa. They bring in Sonny Milano. Defense, John Carlson's still there. They bring in Jacob Chychrun. Dylan McElrath's on this team. Well, he was on the Bears, so that makes sense. And now the question is, who's in goal? Is it going to be Charlie Lindgren full-time? Probably. Sixth place with 84 points. I have the Pittsburgh Penguins. Boy, have they fallen as a franchise. That crew's still there with Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and obviously Chris Letang. They do have some guys around them. Michael Bunting was good for them in that trade last year. They have Anthony Beauvillier now. Kevin Hayes was brought in as a free agent. Rickard Rakell's still there. Brian Russ is still there. But Jake Gensel is such a big loss. I know that was a trade, but that is such a big loss. In addition to Letang on defense, Marcus Pettersson, Ryan Graves they bring in. Erik Karlsson still there. They bring in Matt Grzelcyk. And Tristan Jarry is probably still going to be their starter, you would think. The Flyers I have in 7th with 78 points. This Philly team is just rebuilding, as we know. Sean Couturier is still there. Chet Lachenko made the team. He's 18 years old. Joel Farabri's a good player. So they have some nice talent. Owen Tippett. Travis Kelce's still there. Tyson Forster's a young player that they're relying on. On defense, they have Rasmus Ristolainen, Travis Sanheim, Cam York, Jamie Drysdale they got in that trade. And now the question is who starts in goal for them. And John Tortorella is still their coach, which is crazy. And at the bottom of the division, I have 76 points, the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is sad. It's a sad prediction about the Blue Jackets. I have coming in last, but it's just the reality of the situation. They're just not good. They're rebuilding. And I understand losing Johnny Gaudreau was tragic. And it's sad. And I know it's going to be a rallying cry all year there. And I think they're going to rise to the occasion, especially early in the season. But that loss is just too big to overcome. But they are relying on some young guys. Kent Johnson, Cole Sillinger, James Van Riemsdyk's on this team. Yegor Chinakhov, I feel like, has been around for a while. Kromarchenko is someone that they're relying big on. Ivan Provorov's on this team. David Severson, Zach Werenski. They have a good defense. Jack Johnson. And then they have a good goalie in Elvis Merzlikins as well. And their coach now is the former Wild coach, Dean Evason. And now the Atlantic Division. I have winning that division with 113 points, the Florida Panthers. The Panthers are still really good. They're the reigning champs. Loaded. Alex Barkov, Sam Bennett, Carter Verhaeghe, Evan Rodriguez, Sam Reinhart, Ethan Lastort, Antoine Lindell, Matt Tkachuk, obviously. And on defense, Aaron Ekblad, Nate Schmidt. I knew they lost on defense. They did lose Ekman Larson, which is a big loss, and then they Montour. They're going to miss those guys, but the Panthers are still freaking loaded. And then Bravovsky is still really good. He shed a lot of narratives in their cup run last year. In second place with 110 points, the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs are, to me, a really top-heavy team. They still have their stars, obviously, Austin Matthews, John Tavares, William Nylander, Mitch Marner. Relying on a lot of other guys like Max Domi, Max Pacioretty. And on defense, Morgan Riley's still there. They picked up Oliver Ekman-Larsson. That was a good pickup. And then their goalie's going to be Joseph Woll. And Craig Berube's their coach now. In third, I have with 107 points the Tampa Bay Lightning. They made the biggest splash of the offseason, signing Jay Gensel to go with their group. Anthony Cirelli, Braden Point, Brandon Hagel, obviously Kucherov. And then on defense, they're still really good with Victor Hedman, and Ryan McDonough is back. Eric Cernick's on their defense now, and then Andre Vasilevsky is still in net for them. Fourth with 100 points, I have the Boston Bruins. I have them as a wild card. So they took care of business big time by signing Jeremy Swayman to that extension. They need to get that done. They're stacked on the fence. Charlie McAvoy, Brandon Carlo, Hampus Lindholm. And then offensively, they're very top-heavy. David Pasternak's back. They have Brad Marchand, Max Jones. And they're relying a lot of role guys. And then they signed Elias Lindholm, which is a big pickup for them, obviously. Coming in fifth with 92 points, I have the Ottawa Senators. I think Ottawa will be better just on premises because of the Olmark pickup. So much better than what they've had in the past. And defensively, they have some guys like Thomas Chabot. I feel like has been there for a minute. Travis Hamonick's a good veteran. Jake Sanderson, they're relying on. And offensively, they have some potential too. Brady Tkachuk's a good young player. Really a great young player. Drake Batherson's a good player. Claude Giroux is still in the league. But they're relying on a lot of guys to jump. And then Tim Stützle's a potential franchise guy for them. Sixth with 88 points with Detroit Red Wings. Detroit's interesting. They have a nice group of players. You have Tyler Mott, Dylan Larkin, Andrew Kopp, Lucas Raymond, JT Compher. They brought in Patrick Kane and Vlad Tarasenko, so the two Ranger trade deadline pickups from 2 years ago are both on the Red Wings. And Alex DeBrincat's obviously there. Christian Fisher is on this team, the long-time Arizona Coyote. And on defense, Moritz Seider was just extended. Eric Gustafson's a good vet. Ben Sherratt. And then starting in goal will probably be Cam Talbot, you would think, would be their starting goalie. All right, seventh, I have the Sabres of Buffalo. This team just fails to go over the hump each and every time, and they get everybody excited, and then they take a step back. A ton of talent on this team, especially on defense, with Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power. Bowen Bryant's on this team now. Connor Clifton. That's the strength of their team. And in starting a goal is going to be Ukko-Pekka Lehkonen. And goaltending's been their biggest bugaboo all the time. And then offensively, you obviously have Dylan Cousins, Peyton Kurbs, Tage Thompson, So they have some talent offensively. Jack Quinn. And at the bottom of this division with 70 points, Montreal Canadiens. They're terrible. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. They're just relying on a lot of young guys to jump. Nick Suzuki's good. Alex Newhook's a former top draft pick. Kirby Doc, former Blackhawks lottery pick. Patrick Laine's on this team now. We'll see how that works. Cole Caulfield is on this team. We'll see how Juraj Slavovsky is. Defensively, really nothing left to be desired. And then starting in goal, it's probably going to be Sam Montembeault. But we'll see. Did Carey Price actually retire? Price's retirement won't be official until the end of his contract in 2026. But he did confirm that he won't play hockey again. So yeah, makes sense. All right, to the West. Central Division. First place with 111 points, the Dallas Stars. Dallas is always going to be there in the mix. This team's going to be good again. You have a lot of talent there. Matt Duchene's there. Rube Hintz is there. Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn. Jason Robertson's now their best player. Evgeny Dadonov's there. And on defense, you have Matt Dumba there and Issa Lindell and, of course, Miro Heiskanen. They're loaded defensively. And then, obviously, I love their goalie, Jake Ottinger. You guys know how I feel about him. Coming in second with 107 points, the Nashville Predators. This Predators team is going to be really, really good. I'm telling you that right now. And I think that Brady Trotz has done an outstanding job rebuilding this team in the summer. Steven Stamkos comes in. They have Ryan O'Reilly, Gustav Nyquist. Obviously, Philip Forsberg. They signed Jonathan Marchessault as well. And on defense, they're obviously stacked. Rovan Josi, Dante Fabro. They signed Brady Shea in the offseason. Luke Shen. And they've won the better goalies in the league. And Juicy Saros. And Andrew Burnett is a really good hockey coach. Coming in third with 103 points, I have the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg, I just feel like quietly good every year, and I think they don't get the credit that they deserve. Even after some turmoil and stuff with guys leaving and trades, they always find the way to stay relevant. Mark Sheffley's still there. Kyle Connor, of course. Nikolaj Ehlers. Gabriel Velarde came over in that trade. Defense, they have Josh Morrissey and Dylan DeMello. The veteran Colin Miller's there. And, of course, Connor Hellebuck, one of the better goalies in the whole league. Coming in fifth with 94 points, I have the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild are an interesting team. Kirill Kaprizov leads the way offensively. Matsu Garello, the veteran, so there's always Ryan Hartman, who's another veteran. Joel Eriksson Ek. Marco Rossi they're relying on. Excuse me. And on defense, Jonas Brodin's still there. Jared Spurgeon's still there. He's getting older. And then in net, starting for them will probably be Philip Gustafson or Marc-Andre Fleury. That's going to be an interesting question for John Hines, who's now their coach. In sixth place with 86 points, I have the St. Louis Blues. The Blues, boy, have things changed. They were a contender once upon a time. And they were kind of in the mix last year, but they fell apart. But they have talent. Braden Shen and Pavel Buchnevich. That was a steal of a trade with the Rangers. Robert Thomas, Jordan Cairo, Kasperi Kapanen's there. And on defense is where they're stacked up. Torrey Krug, Nick Leddy, Colin Parayko, the veteran Ryan Sutter's there. Justin Falk, another good veteran. Pierre-Olivier Joseph. And Jordan Binghamton is their goalie. In 7th, I have with 82 points the Utah Hockey Club. I think there's a chance Utah is better than this. I mean, I should have picked them 6th, but just didn't have the balls to, pull the trigger on that one. I mean, they have some nice players. Nick Schmaltz, Barrett Hayton, Clayton Keller's obviously their captain. They just named him captain, which is awesome. On defense, they have talent. Mikhail Sergachev's there now. Juuso Valimaki, Robert Bertuzzo, the veteran Ian Cole's there. And starting in goal for them is probably going to be Connor Ingram. And then at the bottom was 78 points, the Chicago Blackhawks. This team, I think, is trying to win and build a winner around Connor Bedard, but they're in a good division. That's going to be hard for them. And other good players they have around Bedard, they have Philip Kurashev, Tyler Bertuzzi they brought in, Taylor Hall, the veteran Pat Maroon's there, Teuvo Teravainen, Ilya Mikachev, and on defense, Seth Jones is still there. I thought there was a chance he was going to get traded. TJ Brody, veteran. And starting in goal for them will probably be the veteran Peter Mrazek. All right, the Pacific Division. Coming in first with the 114 points, I have the Vancouver Canucks. They won this division last year. I think they're going to do it again. They're a really good hockey team. And I think they really are a cup contender. So JT Miller, Elias Pettersson. They signed Jake DeBrusk in free agency. Brock Besser's still there. Connor Garland. Yeah, this is a really, really good team. And obviously Quinn Hughes leads the way in defense. They Philip Roenick. Derek Forbut. And then in goal will be Thatcher Demko. And they have a really good coach in Rick Tocchet as well. Second place with 107 points to Edmonton Oilers. I think most people will pick the Oilers to win the division over Vancouver. But I just think Vancouver's a better team. Obviously you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is still there. Evander Kane's still there. Zach Hyman coming off a career year. We'll see how that goes. Victor Vreeton's there. The veteran Jeff Skinner. Another veteran, Corey Perry. Their defense, I really don't trust. Darnell Nurse is there. But that's the only guy that jumps out to me. It was like, hey, he's awesome. Although Matthias Elcomel, Evan Bouchard also good. And then Stuart Skinner will be their goalie. And they were awesome with Chris Knobloch last year. Third place with 106 points, the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm always going to have respect for Vegas. They're just a good hockey team that just is always just there each and every year. But yeah, they're really good as well. Jack Eichel, Ivan Barbashev, William Karlsson, Mark Stone, But yeah, you see some turnover on the roster still to this day, but they still are relevant and find ways to hang around. Their defense is stacked. Noah Hannafin, Brady McNabb, Alex Pietrangelo, Zach Whitecloud, Shea Theodore. That's the strength of their team. And then in goal will probably be Aiden Hill. Coming in fourth with 99 points, the Seattle Kraken. I think the Kraken bounce back and make the playoffs this year. They just have a lot of talent. And Manny Benier, Shane Wright, Jaden Schwartz, Chandler Stevenson, Yanni Goudreau, Andre Burakovsky, Brendan Tanev. And on defense, you have Adam Larson, Brendan Montour, Jamie Alexiak, Vince Dunn. And starting in goal will probably be Philip Grubauer. Coming in fifth with 95 points, I have the Los Angeles Kings. I do not have the Kings in the playoffs. But they do have talent. I mean, I won't be shocked if they make it instead of the Kraken. Just varsity Pits. So you have Philip Deneau, Anze Kopitar, Alex Turcotte, Kevin Fiala, Trevor Moore, Quentin Byfield, Adrian Kempe. And in defense, Drew Doughty's still there. Joel Edmondson, the veteran's there. And then starting in goal will probably be Darcy Kemper, who they picked up in the offseason. 6 with 87 points. I have the Calgary Flames. Calgary's rebuilding. They're shaking up their roster. Just a weird mix there. And they still had Jonathan Huberdeau there, who they got in that trade with Florida. And that was obviously a trade that you could argue they probably would want back. Blake Coleman's on this team. Yegor Sharangovich, who's a good player for them. Anthony Mantha. And on defense, they have some guys. Tyson Barrie, Rasmus Anderson. Mackenzie Weegar comes over from Florida. And starting in goal will probably be Dustin Wolf. Seventh with 76 points, I have the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks are also terrible and rebuilding. But they have a lot of young guys they're relying on. Trevor Zegras, they want to make a jump. Mason McTavish, Isaac Lundstrom. Cutter Gauthier, who they got in that trade. Troy Terry's still there. And on defense, Cam Fowler still there. They have Brian Dumoulin on that team now. And in goal is probably still going to be John Gibson, which is crazy. He's still on the Ducks. And then in 8th place with 70 points, the San Jose Sharks. I think the Sharks stink. I think they're probably the worst team in the league. If not them, then probably Montreal. I know Macklin Celebrini comes in. He'll change everything down the road. But they have a lot of young guys that want the change of scenery, and they're trying to bank on those guys like Ty Dellandrea, like people like that. Parky Goodrow's on this team. Luka Couture's still around. Igor Chernisov, they're relying on. William Eklund. Tyler Toffoli's on this team. And on defense, they have some guys. Mark-Edward Vlasic's still there, which is crazy. Cody Ceci, Lucas Carlson. And starting in goal will probably be Vitek Vanacek. They have the Devils' old goalies, Mackenzie Blackwood and Vitek Vanacek. That's funny. All right, now the Stanley Cup playoffs. First round. So I have the Metro 1 New York Rangers against the wild card number 1 Boston Bruins. These two teams haven't met in the playoffs in a while, probably since 2014. But New York's the better team, led by Igor Shesterkin, so I'm going Rangers in 6. Metro Division 2 seed New Jersey Devils, Metro Division 3 seed Carolina Hurricanes. I think New Jersey's way better than Carolina. Devils in 5, led by Jack Hughes. Atlantic Division 1 seed Florida Panthers against the second wild card New York Islanders. I think the Panthers sweep them. That's a 4-gamer. Um, Atlantic Division 2 seed Toronto Maple Leafs and Atlantic Division 3 seed Tampa Bay Lightning. Really good series. Jake Gensel, big game player. But I think Toronto gets it done in 7. Central Division 1 seed Dallas Stars against the wild card number 1 in the West, Colorado Avalanche. This is a rematch from last year as well. I'm going to go with Dallas in 6. Central Division 2 seed Nashville Predators against the Central Division 3 seed Winnipeg Jets. The revamped Predators, I think, are going to be ready to go. So I'm going to go with the Preds in 7 over Winnipeg. Pacific Division 1 seed Vancouver Canucks against the second wildcard Seattle Kraken. Interesting series, but Vancouver's just better. So Vancouver in 5. And then Pacific Division 2 seed Edmonton Oilers against Pacific Division 3 seed Vegas Golden Knights. This is my upset of the first round. The experience of Vegas will propel them, and the lack of depth on Edmonton could come back and bite them like they did in that Stanley Cup final. So Vegas over Edmonton in 6. All right, the semifinals. Metro Division 1 seed New York Rangers against Metro Division 2 seed New Jersey Devils. Fantastic rivalry. Be the best series, I think. But I think the Rangers are better, led by Igor Shesterkin. So Rangers in 7 over the Devils. Atlantic Division 1 seed Florida Panthers against the Atlantic Division 2 seed Toronto Maple Leafs. Florida obviously has that experience that Toronto really doesn't have. So I'm going to go with the Panthers over Toronto in 6. Central Division 1 seed Dallas Stars against the Central Division 2 seed Nashville Predators. Really good goalie matchup here, but this is where I'm going to call my shot and call the upset with Nashville. So Nashville over Dallas in 6. And then the Pacific Division 1 seed Vancouver Canucks against the Pacific Division 3 seed Vegas Golden Knights. I think upstart Vancouver gets it done here over the veteran-laden Golden Knights. So I'm going to go with Vancouver over Vegas in 6. Conference Finals. The Atlantic Division 1 seed Florida Panthers against the Metro Division 1 seed New York Rangers. Conference Finals rematch from last year. And I think it's going to be the same exact outcome and in the same number of games. So Panthers in 6. And then the Pacific Division 1 seed Vancouver Canucks against the Central Division 2 seed Nashville Predators. I think that's going to be another fun series. And that's also a first-round rematch from last year. As Nashville's better, but I think Vancouver gets by. So Vancouver in 6 over Nashville. In the Stanley Cup final, I have the Atlantic Division 1 seed Florida Panthers against the Pacific Division 1 seed Vancouver Canucks. I think that's a fantastic series. I think the Canucks are being overlooked. And I think that the addition of the guy that came over from Boston, Jake DeBrusk, will be a big difference. So I'm going with an outside-the-box-ish Stanley Cup pick. So I'm going with the Vancouver Canucks to win the 2025 Stanley Cup over the Florida Panthers in 6 games. All right, now I'm going to do my award picks. All right, the Hart Trophy, Connor McDavid, of course, best player in the world. Runner-up. Ooh, that's a hard one to runner-up. I keep putting my eggs in this player's basket, but I don't care. Jack Hughes, New Jersey Devils. The Hart Ross Trophy, McDavid, runner-up, Austin Matthews. The Norris Trophy, I'm going to go with Quinn Hughes. Really stands out to me on a really good Vancouver team. Runner-up, Adam Fox of the Rangers. Vezina Trophy, Igor Shesterkin of the Rangers. Best goalie in the league, hands down. Runner-up, Connor Hellebuck, Winnipeg Jets. The Calder Trophy, I'm going to go with Macklin Celebrini. That is obviously a really, really easy call. And my runner-up, I am gonna go with Jet Lachenko of the Flyers. The Jack Adams, I'm gonna go with Sheldon Keefe of the Devils. New coach theory works here. And then runner up, I am gonna go with I'm going to go with Dan Belisma of the Seattle Kraken. And the Selke Trophy, I'm going to go with Austin Matthews. Runner-up, Alexander Barkov. All right, so that finishes part 1 of the NHL season preview and predictions podcast. Stay tuned for part 2.